My name is Trent Maloney, and I'm going to present to you my 5 cultural or historical sites in the Canadian National Corps. Share my screen here. Okay, so first off, we're going to go to La Citadelle here in Quebec City, Quebec, which is in the eastern part of the Canadian National Corps. So this map is a little twisted. So you can see here that a big part of this citadel is that this is where the St. Lawrence River really narrows. You can see how wide it is out here. Oh goodness. And see how I mean, even right here, just miles away from Quebec, Quebec City, that is. And then right there where the citadel is, it narrows down significantly. Yeah, so this was obviously a big physical geography site, just because of, you could essentially control the river from this point and who went where. So that was pretty big. And another thing about this is the cultural significance of it. Not so much the citadel, what I found, but mainly just Quebec City as a whole. I want to show you this map here. Yeah, so that's where I want it. This is from a site that I've just found. I just Googled Canadian National Corps and found this interesting map. So this proportion of francophones, people who speak French, you can see in Quebec here is very high compared to the western part of the National Corps, which is very low. And this, we talked about this in class, the secession or so-called secession of Quebec from Canada. They wanted to become their own country. They wanted to make laws that, where you had to speak French. So they are pretty intense up there about their French culture and heritage and speaking that language there. And yeah, Quebec is really the what I would think is the big French cultural center there. Okay, and so my next point here, I had it pulled up, is the Welland Canal. Let's fly there. Oh, a short flight. So this canal connects Lakes Ontario and Lake Erie in Canadian territory. So you see here that this is what Niagara Falls are on. It's called the Niagara Escarpment. It's raised up. And so the Welland Canal, physically, it's able to lift ships through a series of locks. It's able to lift ships up over the escarpment and to the other lake. And this canal was built in response to the United States building the Erie Canal. So the Erie Canal connected New York City to the Great Lakes, which in turn, they were able to connect with the rapidly industrializing Midwest. And this was very important, and Canada did not want to fall behind, essentially. And so they built this canal, the Welland Canal, in order to try to compete with the United States of America. Yeah, Canada just wanted the same. And this is something I found with most of these Canadian sites, is that Canadians seem to be pretty maybe fierce or proud of their Canadian nationality, and that they want to compete and don't want to just lay down. It's just something interesting that I've found with pretty much all these points here. Okay, and next, we do the Hockey Hall of Fame next. So a significant source of national pride. This is more a cultural geography here than a physical one, but I just thought this was interesting looking at this. So the Hockey Hall of Fame, this building was opened in 1961 in Toronto. This is because the National Hockey League actually started in Montreal in 1917. And I think they called it the Original Six or Original Seven. There's some big rivalries there. There's a huge rivalry, excuse me, between Toronto and Montreal, which is just another symbol of the cultural divide in just this tiny little, region of Canada. So I thought that was, where'd it go? I thought that was really interesting. There it is, right there. Yeah, so I just thought that was interesting culturally that they're so tied to hockey, almost like, I mean, obviously America's tied to football and baseball and whatnot, but Canadians are big on their hockey, and there's just such an intense cultural divide that you don't really see in America either. You don't really see a intense English and some other nationality divide where you have a high percentage of people speaking a different language like you do in Canada in such a short geographical span there. So yeah, the Hockey Hall of Fame, that was pretty neat. And next, let's go to Parliament Hill in Ottawa. So the national capital. This is the Parliament Hill. This was ordered to be built in 1866 by a Queen Victoria. And it's still in use today. I mean, this is where the Parliament of Canada meets, the Prime Minister, where all the important governmental offices are. It's all in Ottawa still, which I think is pretty neat. You can see here this like this architecture is just super super neat there. And I don't know, that clock tower just kind of reminds me of Big Ben in London. So you see some of the English coming out here in Ottawa. But also, if you look at the map, another good symbol of the cultural divide here, Ottawa seems to be right in the middle of the Canadian National Core, where there is a sharp gradient between francophones and anglophones. It happens right there in Ottawa. I mean, within a span of less than 100 miles, it seems like. Thought I had to sneeze. Sorry about that. Within less than 100 miles, it seems like it changes drastically from francophones to anglophones as you go from northeast to southwest here across the Canadian National Core. So I thought that was interesting culturally. Anything else about Parliament Hill? I don't think so. Okay, on to the next one here. So I think this is the last one. This is the CN Tower in Toronto, the biggest city in Canada with roughly 3 million people. So the CN Tower was built in 1976. This was purely a telecommunications tower. This was meant to represent Canada's economic strength. That they could build something like this, and that they have the telecommunications network to require something like this be built. I mean, a huge tower. Keep in mind, this was the tallest freestanding building in the world until 2007, when the Burj Khalifa was built in Dubai. So, yeah, the CN Tower also, for me, just something I kind of just realized, makes sense that it's kind of, people think of Toronto, they think of Canada. This is one of the things they think of, I'm sure. I mean, it's a ginormous just needle in the middle of Toronto. And this is something that once again, Canadians are very, very proud of. Yeah, so those were my sites in the Canadian National Corps. And I think just maybe a couple things I observed through all of them is that the National Corps, it's just interesting how small it is in land area, but how big it is in population, and just the intense cultural divide there is. So there's really a lot of yeah, it just seems like a very interesting area where one could live. So yeah, there was my tour. Let me stop recording here.